Come with me as I take a walk through Hot Toys' flagship store, Secret Base. It's been a year since my first visit, and I'm really excited to see what's new. When you walk in, you're greeted with the familiar sight of this display cabinet showcasing Hot Toys' newly announced and released figures. I was so excited to be in Hong Kong for the release of the Batman Returns 2.0 figure, and it looks absolutely fantastic. This cabinet also features a new Han Solo, the Iron Man Mark 42, Higgs from Death Stranding 2, and the artisan Eve Macaro figure from the ballerina, which I'm really sad to report does not look any better in person. Near the entrance, we have a rack of random movie cushions, which were also available at Hot Toys' other stores in Hong Kong. We also have some Hot Toys branded hats, which then leads us into this main Marvel display of figures. Starting off, we have an impressive collection of Spiderman figures. Many of these are from the video game line and the animated Into the Spider-Verse movies. I'm always so very impressed with the way Hot Toys staff post Spider-Man figures. There's a lot of inspiration to be had from checking out these displays. Now it's time for a whole lot of Iron Man, starting off with the Midas, which is next to the Rosehill Tony, and some Iron Patriot and War Machine figures. There's also the blue Igor suit in the back corner of the shelf. We then have the new Mark 42 suit and some of the Origin collections of figures with the blue stealth armour and the red and gold suit. I believe that's the gold version of the Mark 3 suit, and we also have Iron Strange up the back. Next up, we have a range of War Machine figures, as well as the armorized Deadpool and the Punisher War Machine. We of course can't forget all the Neon Tech goodness, which unfortunately is obscuring the view of the Iron Man figures up the back. I can just see Whiplash, Ironmonger and Tony Stark back there. In this next section, we get a chance to admire some of the different suits Tony has worn in a wide range of different colours. These quarter-scale figures have such a presence, especially with the Iron Man suit. Maybe it's me, but I think it's an interesting choice that they put the comic-inspired Norman Osborn Iron Patriot on this shelf, given this display is all about Tony Stark. I also think the hair on that Pepper Potts figure has seen better days. This next section showcases some of the awesome dioramas that have accompanied Iron Man figures. If you have the space for them, they definitely make for an eye-catching display. And rounding things out with this cabinet, we have more colour variants of Tony's different suits. We then come into the Avengers 1 display, which now has the Mark 7 suit-up figure, which is a much newer release. I still have a lot of love for these original Avengers figures. That said, if they wanted to give the Black Widow an artisan treatment, I'd totally be down for that. In the corner here, we have this cool Hulk and Hulkbuster display. I love the way they have the Iron Man falling out of the Hulkbuster suit. We then have the new artisan Black Widow figure, which I was lucky enough to pick up in Hong Kong. She's displayed alongside the Avengers Age of Ultron figures. By comparison to the artisan figure, the hair on that Avengers Black Widow is definitely not looking the best. And down the bottom here, we have a bit of a Marvel mishmash. We have Doctor Doom, which was released this year, Venom, some of the What If characters, and the Mech Strike Armor Black Panther. Rounding out the Avengers displays at Secret Base, we have the Infinity War line. I think overproduction and time means these figures probably don't get as much love as they used to, but I still think there's a lot of great pieces here. That Thor in particular is still a favourite of mine. We've got some more rough hair, that Black Widow doesn't look great. Thanos is here at the end. I keep thinking I need a Thanos for my Avengers collection. What do you think? We then come down to what was the No Way Home shelf, although they've added in some additional figures this year, like Bully Maguire. These figures really come to life with these awesome diorama display bases. I love the way they've brought Sandman and the Lizard to life through these bases. There's some really impressive posing going on in this display, and a random Groot, because why not? This smaller display case also has more Marvel figures on display. On the top shelf we have Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, We have Doctor Strange, Dead Strange, and the Scarlet Witch. This is followed by Shang-Chi, a character we haven't heard from in a while in the MCU. Here he is alongside the two Wenwu figures that were released. Next up, it's Deadpool and Wolverine, and this is a really good looking set of figures. There's some cool dynamic posing with Kidpool jumping over the sofa, and that Wolverine is definitely a contender for Figure of the Year. And finishing this cabinet, we have some Hono figures. Things have really been quiet on the Hono front as of late, so part of me does wonder what is going on with this line. Now, anyone that watches my channel knows what the deal is between me and the Star Wars. But if you don't, long story short, it's not my thing. That's okay though, as I'll still show you all the Star Wars figures on display at Secret Base, and there is a lot of them to get through. Part of me wanted to do this in Star Wars in 60 seconds style, if you know you know, but I'll do any Star Wars viewers a solid and not do that. Hot Toys has been big on Anakin and Darth Vader figures this year, and we can see some of these on display here. We've also got 3 different versions of Ahsoka, as well as some troopers and Admiral Thrawn. On this shelf, we can also see Bo-Katan, there's Hera from the Ahsoka line. We can see some of the Mandalorian figures with the Mando himself and the Mando Luke Skywalker, alongside Grogu and some different droids that I do not know. This bottom shelf has a mix of figures and scales. We have both of the life-size Grogus, the quarter-scale Mando and Boba Fett, as well as some troopers. We can't forget there's also a huge range of Star Wars cos babies and other smaller collectibles in store, but back to the 6 scale. Leading things off, we have the Blurg with Mando, and I'm probably going to say this wrong, Quill? Some troopers are next, and I recently read that Hot Toys has now released more than 100 trooper figures, which doesn't surprise me at all. Other figures Hot Toys has made a lot of: Darth Vader, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul, some of which we see on display here at Secret Base. This next display is what I think are prequel figures. We've got Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, Padme and Anakin. I think that's a Palpatine up the back. There's also Obi-Wan, another Anakin, and some classic characters like Yoda, C-3PO, and R2-D2. This next shelf is Trooper Central. Why are there so many of them? I really don't know. What I do know is that Hot Toys loves a Darth Vader figure, and here are some of them. I actually think the dueling effect Vader looks pretty cool. This is followed by more troopers. I wonder if all 100 of them are on display here at Secret Base. And another Vader, and another trooper, and another guy I do not know. Sweet chair though. I do remember this diorama from last time. This is pretty cool. The R2-D2 creeping on Luke and Yoda does make me chuckle. And the Star Wars keeps coming. This has to be the largest IP for Hot Toys. Here we have some more of the classic character combos like Luke and Leia, Luke and Vader, and R2-D2 and C-3PO. Google tells me some of these figures might be from A New Hope, like Han and Luke dressed up as troopers. I have to say the pose of Luke holding Leia is pretty impressive. This shelf has more of the Star Wars big 3, Leia, Luke and Han. I can also see Jabba up the back and another C-3PO. Are these figures or statues at the front? I don't entirely know. We have another Boba Fett, Darth Vader, and what I'm thinking is a 1-to-1 scale Vader bust. Coming into this next section, we have the quarter scale Boba Fett, and more troopers, including the new Tokyo Celebration Cherry Blossom Trooper. Excuse me Hot Toys, but why is the Porcelain Trooper hidden up the back in this display? That's Darth Allison's favourite trooper, and she is not okay with this. The Porcelain Trooper should be on its own shelf so it can be adored the way it deserves to be. Now, I'm guessing these are sequel trilogy figures. We have older versions of Luke, Leia, and Han. Chewie is also up the back there with a crossbow. We have some Rey figures and my favourite BB-8. I'm still waiting for him to get the Neon Tech treatment. Let's make it happen, Howard. And how else would we end the Star Wars display than with a bunch of troopers and a couple of Kylo Ren figures thrown in there for good measure? What an adventure that was. This Terminator display is one that in theory should have had some upgrades since my visit last year. Leading things off, we have the quarter scale endoskeleton. This was Hot Toys' second ever quarter scale figure. Here we have a bunch of Arnie figures. I think we have a mix of new and old here. I'm pretty sure that those figures in the middle are the newly released battle damaged and clean T800s. This shelf also appears to be a mix of old and new. We have the T1000 2.0 in the middle of the shelf alongside the DX13 and Sarah Connor. I believe these next figures are from the Terminator Salvation line. I'm not really familiar with these, so apologies for that. The Predator and Alien lines have also been seeing some action from Hot Toys in 2025. While some of these figures are older, I still think a lot of them look really good. On this shelf we have some of the Xenomorphs as well as a couple of the Ripley figures, including the one with the power loader. Given Hot Toys' recent love of 2.0s, I keep wondering when or if they'll make an updated Ripley figure. The second part of this shelf is dedicated to more of the Predator figures, and we also have some replica helmets. And on this last shelf we have some statues. These aren't made by Hot Toys, but they do look really cool. As a bonus piece of footage, here is a look at the Predator Badlands Deck and Thea, which was on display at I Square while I was in Hong Kong. This was the only location you could see this figure on display while I was visiting. Now back to Secret Base, it's time for some more Marvel figures. Up top we have Thor Love and Thunder. I think we can all agree that these are some pretty good looking figures from a pretty average movie. Then we have somewhat of a Guardians 3 display. I really thought they were going to finish the team this time, but boy was I wrong. Next up, it's Loki and Sylvie. They look great together. I really do think Sylvie is quite an underrated figure. We then have some more Lokis. This time it's President Loki, Classic Loki, and of course Alligator Loki. And on the bottom shelf we have the Avatar 2, the Way of Water figures. It's Jake Sully and Natiri. Around the corner from this Predator Badlands stand, there's another Marvel cabinet. Starting up the top with Moon Knight, I really love the way they've filled the space in this cabinet with this cape. It looks so cool. We then have a couple of Sam Wilson Captain Americas, and if you saw my Powergate tour, what is now Bargain Bin Bucky. The Black Widow solo movie shelf is next. I do personally prefer to see Nat and Yelena together in the snowsuits. They're followed by She-Devil, Matt Murdock and Jen Walters, one of my favourite Marvel combos. And finishing off we have a Stan Lee display which includes his cameo figures from Thor Ragnarok and Guardians 2. In the middle of the store we have the usual Cos Babies and other small collectibles we see on sale at all Hot Toy stores. For some reason they have a real thing about not showing the counter area at Secret Base, but this time I was able to get a little bit of sneaky footage for you to see. Behind the counter there were a couple of figures in a cabinet that were a little bit hard to see, but I did manage to take a photo of them. I think the first figure is from Assassin's Creed, apologies, but I do not know what the other two figures are. And again we can see some more general merchandise available for sale. On my last visit to Secret Base, this cabinet had an Avengers Endgame line, but the Avengers have been replaced with the Fantastic Four. This set of figures really does look good. Starting off, we have the Human Torch, the Thing, the Invisible Woman alongside Baby Franklin, and then Mr. Fantastic with Herbie. If you've got this team on pre-order, I think you'll be really happy with these figures. Here we have the last of the random merchandise and Cos Babies on display. There's also a bunch of Batman Returns 2.0 figures behind the counter, and I really wish I could have taken one of them home. Now this section is my favourite. It's where all the DC figures are, and there's a lot of Batman and Dark Knight goodness to enjoy. Before we get to that, this first cabinet has quite a wide range of IPs, some of which you'll be shocked to hear I know very little about. Here we have the Fantastic Beast figures next to Luffy and Zorro from One Piece. I will say the staff did an impressive job using the effect pieces to cover the visible joints on the Luffy figure. I thought that was really well done. We then have Buzz Lightyear, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, next to a bunch of Resident Evil video game line figures, because when space is at a premium, these are the combinations you're forced to display, and I guess Secret Base is no different. On the next shelf, two of my favourites, John Wick and Kane. I was quite disappointed that the new Chapter 1 John Wick figure wasn't at display at any of the stores. That was a figure I was really hoping to see in person. We have Belle from Beauty and the Beast, Maleficent and James Bond, what I think are the Warriors of the Future figures with the Cayman Riders, and also Pennywise. The interesting combinations continue. Speaking of, we have Bruce Lee alongside a collection of Michael Jackson figures, Alita Battle Angel and the League of Legends figures. We've got more Keanu Reeves with Johnny Silverhand and Neo. And this is the new Wednesday figure, which I think looks really good. I'm not sure why people are hating on this. We then have a collection of Johnny Depp figures, most notably Captain Jack Sparrow and then Indiana Jones. On this bottom shelf, we have The Godfather, some G.I. Joe figures, as well as this RoboCop display. Now it's time to start venturing into the world of DC, and it's really nice to be able to see some new figures coming out from the DCU this year. Up the top, we've got Batfleck, Black Suit Henry Cavill Superman, and then the Nightmare Batman. Up the back, we can just see the Wonder Woman 84 Golden Armor figure, and we have the new David Corenswet Superman with Crypto. We then have the Justice League with the new Batman 2.0 figure that was released this year, and it comes with that awesome wall diorama display base. We then have a bit of a Back to the Future display where we can see all three of the DeLoreans, as well as the different looks for Doc and Marty that Hot Toys have produced over the years. I do also love the way they've incorporated these light boxes into a lot of the displays. I really wish they were more readily available to buy, because I think they would be cool to have. Coming back up to the top, we have Wonder Woman, Black Manta, and the Flash movie line. I think these definitely fall into the great figures from an average movie category. We then have the Dark Knight Rises Bat, which is actually 12th scale and still available to buy. It's sharing a shelf with the Grant Gustin Flash and the two Black Adam figures. Is it weird that I kind of get a kick out of seeing things I own on display at Secret Base? Here we have the Black Tumbler along with the Rises Bruce Wayne and Armory. That Armory suit is fantastic. I hope it's released as a standalone figure one day. This combination is definitely a favourite of mine, the Camo Tumbler. It's with the Bane 1.0 figure, and I still think they look really cool together. We then have a statue not made by Hot Toys, the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman, a character we've all been wondering if Hot Toys is going to make one of these days. I absolutely love this fighting pose for the Pattinson Batman. I'm definitely stealing this one. This is another 2025 release, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. We have both the artisan and sculpted hair versions here on display. This is some more solid posing from the Hot Toys staff. I really think the Murray Franklin Studio backdrop is another winner. Speaking of, this gargoyle base and the 89 Batman 2.0 is another combination that I really love. We then have the Artisan Imposter Joker. I've debated picking this one up a couple of times. Maybe one day I'll get it. And then the quarter scale Christian Bale Dark Knight figures, the QS9 and QS19. Quarter scale figures just have such a presence about them. I really wish Hot Toys would give Bane the quarter scale treatment. Here we have the Dark Knight Armory 2.0. Unfortunately, the lighting on Bruce's face was really harsh and it was hard to get a good look at the sculpt, which was a huge bummer. We have the Bane 2.0 and DX33 and Artisan Jokers, some of Hot Toys' best releases from 2024. Now, this Mr. Freeze figure is so impressive. Seeing it at Secret Base made me so excited to have him on pre-order. And in the corner, the 89 Batmobile, a vehicle that I own and love. At the bottom here, more statues not made by Hot Toys. I think these might be by Prime One. On this half shelf, we have more Dark Knight Trilogy goodness. We've got the Catwoman 2.0 and the Bat Pod, the new Batman Begins figure, the Old But Gold Police Joker, as well as Blake and Gordon. That's another set that I think has aged really well. This Batman and Joker pose is so cool, and actually, it's not a bad way to use some of the older Joker figures where the likeness hasn't aged that well. I think I might steal this one. Rounding off this display, we have the Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, two figures that look great but unfortunately don't pose that well. And lastly, we have this Poison Ivy statue. This is another character I keep wondering if Hot Toys is going to give us from Batman and Robin. I'm sad to say this is the last cabinet I have to show you from Secret Base. On this top shelf, we have the Arkham video game line with Batgirl, Batman, Harley Quinn, the XC suit and Deathstroke. I've always thought this was a really good set of figures. We then have the exclusive purple Batgirl and the exclusive gold Batman, both still available to buy. There's the Hellbat suit and the newly released comic Dark Knight Returns figure. The harsh lighting is really blowing out the colour of this suit. And then we have the Batman Beyond Arkham Knight. This next shelf features a variety of Harley Quinn figures. To me, I still think the Prisoner Harley is the best likeness to Margot Robbie that Hot Toys has given us. We also have Dancer Harley as well as the two figures from the Birds of Prey movie. We then have Peacemaker, I'm pretty sure that's the 1.0 figure, and King Shark. Finishing off, we have the Suicide Squad figures. There's the Imposter Joker Batman, Jared Leto Joker, Batman, and Deadshot, who is rocking a pretty cool pose there. So that's a quick look around Secret Base and all of the awesome Hot Toys figures on display. Secret Base is located in the Cino Centre, which is currently undergoing some renovations, so this is what the front currently looks like. Since my last visit, Hot Toys has opened the Secret Base hub on the ground floor of the Cino Centre, which acts as a great marker to let you know you're in the right place. The Secret Base hub has a small collection of Hot Toys figures and other general merchandise for sale. If you want to see more from my trip, check out my tour of Hot Toys' newest retail store in Hong Kong, Powergate, which you can watch by clicking the video on screen now.